I'm a practicing vet, and I think that's very important. I'm not somebody sitting up in the Royal College coming up with wonderful ideas. I'm actually a practicing vet, and I've got involved with this as a way of trying to support and help and give structure to the first stages after qualifying. The name, we all slip into using initials, but the professional development phase is exactly what it's meant to be. It's a stage helping go from immediately after you've qualified. You're going to develop, things are going to change drastically. And the plan is to give some kind of structure to that. When everybody qualifies from college, they are absolutely crammed with a load of information, and all new graduates are equipped with day one competence because that's how the colleges get their certification, their ratification. They have to be producing graduates with day one competence, and roughly that covers general professional skills, knowing an awful lot, and some practical competencies, although that's obviously variable depending on which college, who's lecturing, where they've been seeing practice, and all of those kind of things. One of the things that each new graduate should be able to do is to communicate effectively with clients, listen effectively, and use language in a form that the client is going to understand. That's sometimes really difficult because you've been learning the jargon that you've had to take on board to be able to pass your exams, but actually that's not necessarily the most helpful thing if you're trying to talk to Joe Bloggs and his dog. He may not understand all your posh terms. Or Mr. Jones with his cattle. Actually, these cattle belong to Mr. Williams, but that doesn't matter. This is still day one, and new graduates should have got a really thorough knowledge of all the science that is behind what we do as vets. That's an enormous subject, but that's what coming out of college should be crammed in there. Being able to get an accurate and relevant history is again surprisingly difficult, and day one competencies, in theory, new graduates should be able to do that. In other words, all the stuff you've been shoveling into yourself over the last 5 years, or 6 years if you've been somewhere else, or whatever it is that it's taken, you've been absolutely cramming your brain with stuff. When you sign up to be a member of the Royal College, one of the things you commit to is continuing professional development. And it is crystal clear that all of us are committed to developing and making sure that we learn more and that we make sure that our skills are up to date. And the Royal College is very clear that PDP, Professional Development Phase, is the most appropriate form of CPD for the first period of clinical practice. And the reason for that is that you've come out of college absolutely crammed full of information and knowledge, and you need to turn that into a more practical and effective way of being with your clients. I'm not into reading slides usually, but I think this is so important that I do read it. Year one graduates will be expected to have actual experience of applying these competencies in the workplace, and the really critical one is to be able to perform or manage a range of clinical procedures without close supervision in a reasonable period of time and with a high probability of a successful outcome. That's a heck of a long way to go from a day one competence. So PDP is designed to help go from day one competencies to year one competencies and to end up with this that we're heading for. In other words, you might have spayed 4 cats before you qualified, carefully monitored under, beautiful supervision, but at the end of a year, or at the end of your PDP period, you really should be able to do that without somebody needing to monitor it. Actual experience of applying competencies, it's all very well to stand and watch another vet making decisions about why that dog is polydipsic or why that cow isn't eating very well, but actually you've got to decide what to do, and that needs thinking about. This is the critical statement that we're trying to help get to this stage where you're really fairly competent without worrying about it. So, the professional development phase is a web-based recording and self-assessment system. This isn't somebody necessarily saying you've done that cat spay wrong or anything like that. It's what do you think about how you're getting on. It says it's monitored by online postgraduate deans. I have allocated to me, I think, nearly 500 new graduates. That means that there's no way that I'm watching to see whether Maggie has actually done a cow Caesar this week. That isn't going to be possible. What it does mean, though, is that as soon as any of my new graduates contact me, I can get on to what they've been putting on and see what they're putting and how they're thinking about it. This is the slightly more wordy slide, again explaining that what you're trying to do is to have, and I'll go into more detail in exactly how you do it in a minute, is to put on your what you're able to do and which things you've had a go at and whether somebody else is happy with it. At the end of the year, you will go through the whole lot with a senior vet. And eventually, when your dean has also said you're okay, you will get a certificate of completion. But there's quite a long way to go before you get to that. This is not a tick box activity. I can't tell you how many new graduates say, oh, it's just a question of filling in the boxes. It is not. If you say to me, you think you've finished, and all you've done is tick the boxes saying that I've done 24 cat spays and 3 bitch spays, you're not going to be finished because I need to know how you're getting on and how your competence has developed. So this is the screen that comes up. This is just putting in the numbers. So this is somebody working in small animal with a little bit of equine work who says that they've taken 30 blood samples for a small animal and 2 for an equine, 20 feces samples, that's interesting, and 16 skin scrapings. So this is literally you go in and put in some numbers. To be absolutely honest, I'm not that bothered by the numbers. We do look at them, we all look at them, but I'm not that fussed by the numbers. I'm far more interested in the notes. The numbers do matter. If you've, I've got one girl who'd only done 1 bitch spay in 2.5 years of small animal practice. That isn't likely to make her have a good outcome regularly without supervision. So, the numbers do count, but no, I'm not expecting everybody to have done 24 vasectomies or something. There is a section to be able to change how confident you are, and if you look down this list you can see that this person is confident, very confident in all the diagnostics, less confident in the anesthesia. And if this person was working in something where anesthesia was a regular part of the work, I would probably ask if they wanted to stay on the PDP until they'd got a little bit more experience of anesthesia and felt more confident. This can be a dynamic discussion. It's not necessarily me saying no, it's saying, well, are you happy with that? Do you want to finish with this, or do you want to just keep monitoring it? The notes are definitely the most important ones. These are the ones that really give you an